Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time landing on my channel today, my name is Kathy. I'm a South African expat wife and mom, and we've recently made the move to Perth, Western Australia. If you have come back to my channel and you've been watching a few of my videos, super glad to have you back. I hope the videos are coming in handy, and today's video is going to look a little bit different to the usual format that I've been following. A number of reasons for this, but first off, my family's been a bit ill, we've been sick, so I haven't had much time to be out and about doing nice filming. And then also our container is arriving tomorrow, so it's finally being delivered with all of our household furniture, and hopefully this is the last echoey empty house video you all have to watch on this channel, and I should have a home put together by next week. But that does mean I won't have much time to do editing, so today's video is just a really quick and efficient way for me to get information out there for you guys. And then I realized, because we're covering a bit of a broad spectrum of questions, everything from where kids go to school to crime to weather, there might be categories you're not interested in and you don't want to spend the whole time watching the video. Totally get it. So I will timestamp the categories down below and you'll be able to just fast forward to categories that interest you. Then lastly guys, I'd really like to encourage you, if you are enjoying my videos, if you've watched a couple, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you a thing and it basically allows me to grow this community. I'd love to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube, because that officially makes the channel a community status, which means we can share information together and grow together and learn from each other on a more public platform. So that would be a great goal if we could achieve that by the end of the year. Please refer the channel to anyone who might need a bit of information. If you know of someone moving to Perth, or maybe you could share on any groups you're on Facebook in your communities of people who are going to be moving to Perth or Australia. I'd love to have as much info out there for people like us, so that we have a little bit of knowledge before arriving in this new city. So let's get straight into it. The one question that came up quite a lot from all of you was, what are the main admin tasks I need to do as I touch down in Perth, so in the first couple of weeks? So the first thing you're going to need to do is go out and buy yourself a SIM card. So some of the main providers are Vodafone, Telestra, Optus, Amaysim, but there are multiple options. We did a little bit of research, but all the pricing was pretty similar, so because we wanted to get up and running as quickly as possible. It was a basic plan. We didn't intend to buy a phone, we just upgraded our phones back home. So yeah, it was purely a SIM-only contract that we were after, but you will not struggle to come buy SIM cards when you arrive in Perth. Do a little bit of homework if you're someone who needs specific needs, if you intend on using international minutes, maybe for older people in your family, if you can't reach them via data calls like WhatsApp or Zoom. But yeah, for us, we just needed some good mobile data. That's all we were looking for. Probably your next most important thing is going to be getting a public transport card or ticket. So my advice would be to go ahead and invest in your Smart Rider card from the get-go. Your Smart Rider card is going to provide you with access to the buses as well as the train services in Perth. So it's a great way to get around the city, and especially in your early days when you maybe haven't secured a car yet. So a Smart Rider card is going to cost you $10, and then you need to have a minimum initial balance of $10. So you're looking at around $20 to get yourself set up with your Smart Rider. And then I recommend getting a map or downloading the app on your phone. We did that just so you can learn the bus service routes, what times they're coming. We have a bus stop right down the road, and that's what my husband uses every single day to get to work into the city, because parking in the city is super expensive. You can also use the Smart Rider card to pay for parking at the parking meters in the city. So it's a really great, easy way to get yourself set up with regards to transport. Where can you buy it? So if you want to, you could buy it at the airport on arrival in Terminal 1. There is a little store that sells them. Alternatively, you can also get them at most news agencies or convenience stores around the city. There are licensed agents who sell them. I will be tagging that list off of the Transperth website below, and you can just click that link and have a look at your closest provider to get your Smart Rider card. Right, guys, and then having a look at bank cards. So you want to get a bank account and bank card as quickly as possible to avoid paying any extra charges when it comes to using money that you might have in your home country. So, or an international credit card, or however you plan on doing your transactions. So what's great is a lot of the main banks in Australia allow you to open a bank account while you're offshore. And then you just have to walk into the bank when you get here, provide your identification, and they will give you your bank cards. So I'd strongly recommend that. It's a lot less stressful just to get it all done online and then know you only have to present yourself at the bank to collect cards than sitting around in the bank for ages and ages. It also allows you to do some research beforehand and decide who you are going to be banking with. So we went with Commonwealth Bank. It was the easiest for us just to set up. And then you can always, in the future, change your banks. Perhaps you want to bank with someone who isn't offering a bank account offshore as yet. So that's fine. Start with a bank that does offer that service. And then when you're here, you can always change over if you want to look at a bank with lower fees or whatever the requirements might be. I would also just like to note, it wasn't as instant as we would have hoped. We didn't walk into the bank and get our card the same day. Unfortunately, we took a little bit longer. It took about 4 days for the cards to actually be delivered, even though we had applied about a week before that. But I'm sure if you apply, depending on when you get your visas, if you apply maybe 2 to 3 weeks before you arrive in Australia, the likelihood of your card being at the branch will be much better. We just didn't waste any time. Once we got our visas, we booked our flights. So we only had about a week or 10 days before we touched down in Australia. Right, then the next topic would be getting your driver's license in Perth. So it depends on what country you're from. Being from South Africa, we're really blessed in that we just go and present our South African driver's license along with our Australian identification points, things like your residency contract or your lease agreement, a utilities bill, bank details, a bank card, things like that. So you head to Department of Transport. I will link a few of their sites below and just see where's the nearest office to you. You pop in there, give them your documentation, and you literally get your driver's license within a week, maximum 2 weeks of completing that paperwork. There are certain countries though where you would have to actually sit the test. So again, I will link that down below and you can have a look and see if you need to go sit a test before you can get your license. For pets, so if you do have a pet coming with you, I would recommend you get them registered with the council, your local council authority, as quickly as possible. It's very easy to do online. I believe it also cost us just under $20, but they have different registration timeframes. So you could do a lifetime registration, you could do an annual registration. We did an annual registration because I'm not sure if we're going to continue living in our area for the foreseeable future. So completely up to you, but very easy to do. You then get a letter saying your pet's been registered, and they then will post you a little tag which is to be attached onto your pet's harness or collar so that they are just registered with local council. So you need to have your pet's microchip number when you're filling in that information, and also their breed details and things like that. So the second question is, when and where and how do I send my little one to school? So this is obviously a very variable question depending on how old your child is, depending on what visa type you're on, if you're going to send your child to public or private school. So it's quite an in-depth question, but I will share the knowledge and the research that I've done and learned whilst here. This comes from fellow moms that I've made, friends that I've made, and I'm happy to share what info I do have at this point. But I would recommend you visit the education website for Australia. I will link that down below. It's very comprehensive and it takes you step by step how to enroll your child. It also gives you the option of reaching out to them directly in your city, and they would guide you through the process as well. So I think Australia has done an amazing job looking at the website and guiding people who have just arrived and need some help and input as to how to get their child enrolled into the school system. Right, guys, so let's start with daycare. So a daycare service would be when your child is under the age of kindergarten age, which is 4, and they need childcare while you and your partner are both at work. So daycare costs can range anything from $100 to $150 a week. They do vary in what services they provide, so you would need to shop around and see what suits your needs. With regards to the timings that they're open, whether those fees are inclusive of meals and diapers. Most of the daycares that I have researched and seen, usually diapers are not included. But it also does depend on what visa type you're on, whether or not you're going to be subsidized by the government. I know that there are some circumstances, if you're a citizen or if you have PR, where you might be eligible to receive a subsidy from the government for childcare services. So you'll need to research that. Look into your visa type. I'm definitely not a visa or immigration specialist, so I cannot guide you on that anymore, give any more information. But I do know it might be an option depending on what visa you have. Right, then when it comes to enrolling your child in kindergarten, so that would be around the age of 4, the decision is made on whether your child will start kindergarten in what year, based on what time of the year they were born. So if your child was born sort of before the middle of the year, they would be starting kindergarten the year they turn 4. However, if your child was born after the middle of the year, then likely they would be starting kindergarten the year they are turning 5. So for example, my little girl's birthday is in November, so instead of her starting at the beginning of her 4th year, because she'd probably be not quite ready, maybe 11 months young to start, they would push her to start the year after. So that's basically how it works. Kindergarten really depends on if you're going to be sending your child to a public or a private school. Most moms I've spoken with recommend you find your child a kindergarten that's attached to the primary school that they're probably going to go to the following year. This just gives them some stability, and it gives them a little bit more familiarity when it comes time to start primary school. So the kindergartens in public schools, as far as I know, if you're going to the school in your area, your child is of that age, they should have a space allocated for them. Whether or not you have to pay school fees is again going to depend on your visa type. So you would need to find out with an immigration agent or the school directly if there's any kind of subsidy allowance for your child to go to that school. Most moms have said it's usually a book cost that they have to pay, that's it. So it would be like $100, which includes a few little things like books you're buying. There might also be a few uniform items you need to purchase, as some schools do encourage kindergarten children to wear uniforms as well. So it really does depend on the school itself. If you were to send your child to a private kindergarten, so that would be anything ranging from $6,000 to $15,000 per year. So if you are choosing to send your child to a private school, then there is no restraint on you about what zone or what area you live in. So if you're making use of public schools, you have to live in the area of that local school in order to send your child there. But for private schools, you could pretty much live anywhere and still, because you're paying, send your child to the school of your choice. So it really comes down to what type of school you're looking to send your child to, budget for you and your family. Then for older children, I don't know much, to be honest, about primary school and high school levels. I would imagine enrollment is very similar, but like I said, please visit the website. It will guide you step for step. I did also notice on the website there are English bridging courses for children who don't have English as their home language or first language. I think that's so wonderful that Australia has put that foundational framework in place just to help children who have immigrated transition into an English-speaking environment a lot easier. So yeah, absolutely amazing. I found their website very resourceful and helpful. So please check it out below to get some more details for you and your family. The third question that came up a lot was, how do I make the move to Australia? How do I find a job? How do I immigrate there? And that's a really subjective question. It depends on what your occupation is, what job you would apply for here, and a lot of it is tied to if you're on the skills shortage list and you have the skills required as an immigrant to make the move. So I would recommend a starting point would be to find an immigration agent, someone who is licensed with a good reputation, look at their Google reviews before you trust them. Many of them even offer free consultations where they do a points assessment for you. They ask you questions about yourself, your education, and sort of give you an idea if you stand a good chance to be granted a visa. Even if you choose, then they say to you, yes, you have a chance. You choose not to use the agent in the future, that's fine. At least they've given you a little bit of information and knowledge about whether your application stands a good chance at being successful. So if you choose to do it yourself, you could also look at the immigration website, Australia's immigration website, and see what type of visa you might be eligible for. So sometimes if you're not on the skill shortage list this year, they might amend that and your occupation is listed in a couple of months or the year after. You could also then have a look at getting your CV redone by someone who specializes in converting your current CV into something that's more relatable and more effective in the Australian market. So someone would review your CV and know how to word things and how to lay them out. So it's a lot more appealing for Australian employers. A lot of Australian employers do also ask for things like state-specific experience. Like, do you have WA experience? It's very hard to get WA experience if you're not in the country and someone doesn't give you that first chance. But there are people out there are businesses who do hire, new arrivals. So just be proactive and don't lose hope. And if you're serious about immigrating, you're willing to put in the time, the effort, the energy to make it happen. It doesn't happen easily. So I think it's a really, you have to have a lot of commitment. If that really is your dream and you really wanted to make the move, financially, you're going to have to put money into it. Time, you're going to have to put in a lot of time, energy, ups and downs. So just be prepared for that walk. But if you're serious about coming, there will probably be a way for you to get here. There will be a visa that suits your needs. You can also be proactive in doing things like saving money. Immigrating is expensive. If you really do want to make the move, start saving right now. Then you can look at getting paperwork in order. Things like, do you have unabridged birth certificates, documents that don't expire, things like your unabridged marriage certificate, a valid passport for the next couple of years. These are all things you can put sort of into action, even if you're not quite sure yet when or how your move might fall into place. Be proactive and start getting that paperwork in order so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready to go. Question number 4 was, what is safety like there with regards to crime, criminal activity? Perth does have a bit of a rep for having quite a few drug circles. I think it is a social issue, absolutely, and we cannot just bury our heads and pretend it's all green pastures once you get here. Every sort of city, every country does have its problems. And yes, we have definitely seen people who are substance abusers. We've heard about some criminal activity going on, but we haven't personally been affected by it yet. Now, that being said, we're South African, so we come from one of the most crime-riddled countries in the world, and especially violent crime. So for me, this place feels so much safer. Perth feels so much safer. Does it mean I walk out there with no wits about me and not being observant? Absolutely not. I lock my door every night. I always check the car park. I am careful. I don't walk down dodgy alleyways with my kid. I don't leave my purse lying around. So you're going to take those usual day-to-day precautions that you probably are already doing in your own home country, but I feel really safe here. I feel like there is a lot of police presence. I feel like there is a lot of community presence and support. And I think that if you are well aware of your surroundings and you take the usual safety precautions, Perth is a safe and wonderful place to live. So that's my opinion. I know that someone who may have been affected by crime might feel a different way. This is purely my experience. So a few things that do make me feel a bit safer: we do have security cameras on our house. On our community groups on Facebook, we have seen a couple of people post suspects, wandering up to the front door, and as soon as people see a security camera, they veer away. Now, what those people are trying to do, you don't really know. A lot of the time it's youths, it's young kids, maybe just messing around. And then the last and final question for today is just about, what is the winter weather like here in Perth? Is it cold? Because everyone talks about the summer being so hot, so do I really need to pack winter clothes? Yes, you need to pack winter clothes. Coming from South Africa, I would say the weather is very similar to that of Cape Town in the winter. We have wet, rainy winters in Perth. But that being said, it doesn't seem to last very long. Weather will blow in for maybe 1 or 2 days, and then it seems to blow off and you've got nice sunshine again. So the mornings are cold and night times are cold, but the days warm up usually to double digits, so it's pleasant. The biggest thing for me has been the wind chill factor. So when you're outside, even though it's a beautiful sunny day in the winter, it's super cold when the wind blows, and you need to pack something like a windbreaker or a puffer jacket just to keep the wind off your body. That helps so much. So yeah, pack a raincoat because you're going to get rained on, definitely. Possibly gum boots for you and your family if you intend on visiting the parks in winter. They get quite muddy, and need to have something that's easy to wash and rinse off when you get home. And then buy an umbrella or bring an umbrella with you because it is quite rainy. Regarding the summer weather, I can't comment yet. We haven't experienced one, but apparently it is super hot, up to 40 degrees plus. So looking forward to that. I'm looking out over a very grey and rainy day today. But yeah, we're enjoying that weather because coming from the desert where we didn't see rain, I mean, we saw rain in Dubai maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So I'm soaking up every thunder shower that we have. That's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you get some use from the information I've shared with you today. Please drop a line in the comments below if there's anything else you want me to cover. I'd love to do a part 2 Q&A. Happy to take on board any other questions you guys do have. Please give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow along for more information on living in Perth, WA. Catch you guys in the next one.